His defense team. Dan Abrams is NBC's chief legal correspondent and host of the Abrams Report on MSNBC. NBC News analyst Diane Dimond is a court TV anchor. Good morning to both of you. Nice to see you. Were they fired, these two lawyers, or did they quit?
Fired.
Really? Why?
Yeah.
You agree with that?
You know, sort of fired. I mean, Mark Garagos...
How do you get sort of fired?
Well, I'll tell you how. Because, and I say sort of fired because I don't think that, for example, this was a big surprise to either of these defense attorneys. I mean, when I think of fired, I think of someone walking in there and saying, you're gone. The bottom line is that there's been a lot of problems between Michael Jackson's defense team and Michael Jackson's, quote, advisors for weeks now. They've been trying to help dictate what the defense strategy would be, should be, could be. And I'll tell you, Ben Brafman is not the type of guy who likes to be told what to do.
All right, let me take one step back. Mark Garagos, Diane, that's not that big a shock because he's about to start the Scott Peterson trial.
Right.
So he's spread a little bit thin.
It was never thought that Mark Garagos would last until trial. He just has too many other commitments. I'm going to disagree with Dan, respectfully, Counselor, because I hear this came as a big shock to both Brafman and to Garagos. There had been all of this tension, and let's, put it at the top. A man named Leonard Mohammed, the guy in charge over at the Nation of Islam, he's stuck like glue to Michael Jackson for months now. He was unhappy with this defense team. He said to Michael, they're out of here. And from what my sources are telling me, Michael Jackson has sort of abdicated responsibility to Leonard Mohammed to decide these sorts of things for him.
I think it's right that Michael Jackson probably didn't make this decision himself. But Mark Garagos, no big surprise because of the Scott Peterson case. Ben Brafman, more of a surprise. But again, I'm told that there have been a lot of problems behind the scenes.
All right, who wants to give me the resume of Thomas Mesereau? All right, tell me who this guy is.
He's terrific. He is a brilliant...
He was not available, correct, when this first came up for Michael Jackson. This is someone they've wanted for a while.
He was the original choice.
I never believe it when Michael Jackson needs an attorney and someone says I'm not available. But he was doing the Robert Blake case at the time.
Actually, one of the people said to be responsible for getting Blake out on bond.
He did a great job. This preliminary hearing, he was fantastic. I think he may be single-handedly responsible.
All right, tell me more about it. What should we know?
One of our court TV correspondents said to me last night, Tom Mesereau is California's best-kept secret. This man is a brilliant litigator. He is a compassionate man. Juries seem to love him.
Highly regarded in the African-American community.
Highly regarded. He has a longtime companion, an African-American woman. They go to the AME church every week. Every other week, he stays there to give out free legal advice, and every summer he goes to the Deep South, picks a capital murder case with an African-American defendant, and works on it free.
So clearly this is someone that the Jackson camp thinks can help their cause.
Yeah, but look, it always makes you nervous if you're watching a case and you see that people start shifting their lawyers. And Robert Blake, for example, he's fired 3-4 of his lawyers at this point. It starts to make you ask what's going on. I mean, I think it's okay for now for them to do this if they want to switch lawyers. But Tom Mesereau better be the last lawyer.
Okay, but is Tom Mesereau the kind of guy who will put up with interference from some of the other advisors, or is he a leave-me-alone guy?
Well, look, he stepped away from the Robert Blake case because Robert Blake kept hiring detectives on his own and firing some of Mesereau's people. And he said, I can't do this. I don't like your behavior. If he couldn't control Robert Blake, I'm not sure he can control Michael Jackson.
Just armchair quarterbacking here, though. You think it's a good move, a positive thing for Michael Jackson?
I think getting rid of Ben Brafman was a mistake. I think they could have incorporated Mesereau into the team. Garagos, again, not a big surprise. I think that Mesereau is a good addition, but it's always tough to say it's a good thing when you lose Ben Brafman and Mark Garagos.
They have so many months of experience in this case, and it has a lot of twists and turns, a lot of different players in this case.
So it'll take Mesereau time to get up to speed?
Right. Mesereau doesn't know it yet.
Diane, Dan, thanks very much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Today, the sister of Michael Jackson's accuser is back on the stand at his sexual molestation trial. It's a case that's getting attention around the globe. NBC's Pat Dawson reports from London.
From the morning tabloids to the evening news.
By the prosecution in the Jackson trial today.
Britain's breathless media seems to have an insatiable appetite for the Michael Jackson story.
He is an incredible celebrity, but also he's a scandalous figure, and we love scandal in this country.
No cameras in court, no problem.
The offences are said to have taken place at the Star's Neverland Ranch in California.
In the last week, ITN's viewers saw a computer-generated view of Jackson's home. The high-tech graphics went room to room. Well, the Brits have had a field day. The Jackson saga has made its way around the world. The German,
spektakulär der Michael Jackson-Prozess werden wird.
the Russian, and in Japan, where Jackson once kicked off a world tour with 14 sold-out concerts in Yokohama, the criminal trial is playing big too.
All Japanese people remember him, and the all Japanese people understand he is in difficult position right now.
Even in Baghdad, where there are a lot more serious distractions, some Iraqis have found time to follow the story of the American superstar on trial.
He has a lot of fans here.
A pop icon caught in the bright glare of celebrity scandal. Apparently, headline news in any language. For today, Pat Dawson, NBC News, London.
Court TV's Diane Dimond is an NBC News analyst. She's in Santa Maria, California, with what's next in the trial there today. Diane, good morning to you.
Morning, Lester.
As we mentioned, the sister of the accusers back on the stand. The headlines from Friday, Diane, suggested that Thomas Mesereau scored some real points when he got her to admit that she had lied to Child Protective Services. Is that the full story?
No, I don't think that's a full story. I think overall, she's been on the stand 2 days. Today will be her third day. Overall, I think she did very well. She admitted that she lied to Protective Services, and on this rebuttal video that her whole family lied. But she has said that they did that because Michael Jackson's people were all over them to tell a lie. So, Tom Mesereau has a habit of repeating his questions over and over. He's been rebuked by the judge for this. And frankly, on Friday, I saw 3 jurors sleeping. The African-American alternate, a man in a wheelchair, and a 79-year-old widow in the back. So I think, as the judge said, I think he needs to tighten up his questioning a little bit.
Well, the next step after the sister is done, the accuser's brother is going to be on the stand, who allegedly witnessed some of the inappropriate, illegal acts, if you will. Give us a sense of what he may testify to.
In a lot of respects, Lester, I think this youngest child is going to be the star witness because he is alleged to have seen not 1 but 2 acts of masturbation between Jackson and his brother. He's going to testify about pornography that Michael Jackson and some of his co-conspirators showed the kids. He's going to talk about the drinking. He's going to talk about an instance where Michael Jackson allegedly appeared before these 2 brothers stark naked and sexually aroused and said, what's the matter with this? Why don't you guys take your clothes off too? So this could be devastating for Michael Jackson, but again, Tom Mesereau gets to cross-examine, and I'm sure he'll make some points.
But you say he may be the most important witness, more important than the accuser himself, who presumably will also see?
I think so, because the accuser himself is going to testify that a lot of the time he was drunk, frankly, just drunk. 12 and 13 years old, a recovering cancer patient with only 1 kidney, but drinking a lot of alcohol, and he told the grand jury that there were just things he didn't remember. He seemed to remember 3 other instances of abuse, but he couldn't really pull it out of his head. He said it was like a dream.
Tom Mesereau has certainly planted the seed that this family was out for money. And we mentioned the effort to discredit the sister. He'll continue likely, won't he, with the brothers, the brother of the accuser and the accuser himself? Is that dangerous territory?
Well, I think it's very good, fertile territory for Tom Mesereau. He needs to paint this family, as he has, as liars and with their hands out all the time for money. He's talked a lot about fundraising, a lot about celebrities that the family approached for money. But so far, well, the sister testified, for example, I don't know about any fundraising except what my father did. She talked a lot about her father and his actions and how divisive he was within the family. So I think maybe the state is going to paint the father of that family as a bad guy. And as you know, Lester, he's had his parental rights taken away by a court.
All in all, has the defense done a fairly good job, though, of limiting the damage of the prosecution witnesses so far?
Oh, absolutely. And the rebuttal video that the state showed with this family, the mother and the 3 kids, extolling Michael Jackson's virtues, calling him daddy and talking about how he, delivered them from destitution, I think that really went a long way to show what they thought of Michael Jackson at one time. It was all completely positive. The downside is the mother in this case does appear to be a little overly animated, a little too eager to help. She keeps repeating the same phrases over and over again. And so it sort of went both ways, and it was a state exhibit, but I think it helped Tom Mesereau's side a lot.
Still very early in the trial. That's the cautionary note. Diane Dimond, thank you very much. Good to talk to you.
Dan Abrams is NBC's chief legal correspondent, and Diane Dimond is the executive investigative editor for Court TV and an NBC News analyst. Good morning to both of you.
Morning, Matt.
Morning, Matt.
Good morning, Dan. So how is the prosecution done in making not only the case for molestation, but for conspiracy?
I agree with Mike that the conspiracy case has really faltered here, and that was the most serious charge against Michael Jackson. I think with regard to the molestation, the question is going to be how much do the jurors rely on the past allegations, because they made a pretty strong case here that Michael Jackson has acted at the very least inappropriately with children. The question is, are they going to say that's enough in conjunction with the boy's testimony and his brother's testimony to say that he molested this child, that he served alcohol to this child with the intent to abuse him? I think this is still a tough case for prosecutors.
Diane, how do you feel about that? You think they've had a tough time as well?
Well, yeah, I think some things have not gone the way they planned. But as far as the conspiracy is concerned, they're not done yet. I don't believe that they are going to rest today. I think it'll go into tomorrow. They have one major witness, I think somebody they think is really strong, a man named Rudy Provenzio, who was inside Team Jackson, began to feel that something was wrong, kept a diary, and even made pretext phone calls for the police department. So, some of those tapes may come in. His diary will certainly come in. I think,
but Diane, Debbie Rowe had
loses the conspiracy. But he doesn't care. I think he wants the molestation.
Debbie Rowe, though, really did hurt the conspiracy case, didn't she?
I don't think so. I may be in the minority, but she put Michael Jackson on the telephone, calling her, asking her to do it. He had to get a draft document signed, drawn up and signed for her to be able to break her confidentiality. She had the clear expectation she was going to see her children after she did this. And one of his unindicted co-conspirators was standing over her, making her rephrase things. She didn't admit to being scripted, but there was a lot there.
I think the prosecutors and at times others are confusing the desire on the part of Michael Jackson's team, or the proof that Michael Jackson's team went out there and responded to this video. They got people to sit down and say nice things about Michael Jackson with conspiracy.
Which is called public relations, by the way.
It's not the same thing. You can't just say, hey, we got them to make this video. We got them to sit down. People were making phone calls to one another to get them to sit down and talk about it. That's not a conspiracy.
Listen,
real quickly, Diane.
There are 28 overt acts in the conspiracy charge, okay? If the jury believes Michael Jackson did just one, then that puts him in the conspiracy. And one of them is he picked up a telephone and told the mother her life was in danger. They've heard a lot of testimony just about that.
Let's just end then on the question. I mean, Tom Mesereau said in his opening statement that the jury would hear from Michael Jackson. So what are the chances he takes the stand?
Boy, I can't believe he's going to put Michael Jackson on the stand. I really just can't believe it. But he certainly made it sound that way in the opening statement.
You agree, Diane?
Yeah, I can't see him letting Michael Jackson be fodder for this district attorney.
All right, Diane Dimond and Dan Abrams. Folks, thanks very much.